As BARMM prepares for its first parliamentary elections on October 13, 2025, it's essential to look at the significant strides the region has made during its transition. Over the past few years, BARMM has made remarkable progress, reducing poverty, expanding education, and driving economic growth. Once the poorest region in the Philippines, BARMM's poverty rate has dropped from 52.6% in 2018 to 23.5% in 2023, marking a significant shift. With continued advancements in healthcare, infrastructure, and social services, the region is on track for a brighter future. As BARMM transitions into a parliamentary system, the big question is how these developments will shape its next chapter. And to help us unpack this, we're joined today via Zoom by Ever Abasolo, consultant for the World Bank and the United Nations Development Program and lead consultant for the second Bangsamoro Development Plan. Good evening, sir. Welcome to PTV News Tonight. I'm Jay Esteban.
Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat at maraming salamat po sa pag-imbita sa akin dito.
Yes, sir. Let's get to the first question. As BARMM approaches its first parliamentary elections, what do you consider to be the top 5 most significant accomplishments during the region's transition?
Okay, the Bangsamoro Planning Development Authority right now is actually in the process of formulating the Bangsamoro Transition Report. That report will actually provide the detailed accomplishment report of the BARMM government. But for me, I think the top 5 BARMM accomplishments are the following. Number 1, in 2021, the BARMM regional government recorded the second largest economic growth rate in the country. And what's so significant about that growth is that it's not only robust, but most importantly, it was actually inclusive. Ibig pong sabihin ito, several segments of the population. In fact, several income groups actually benefited from such growth. So that's the first. I think that's a key milestone. The second achievement was really the historic drop of poverty in that same year in 2021. The BPDA conducted an investigation on that, and there was also a separate team coming from the World Bank who did an investigation on that historic drop of poverty. And both teams arrived at the same conclusion. The conclusion was the estimates were actually statistically valid. So that's the second milestone. The third milestone is that there was actually a significant reduction in terms of the number of unserved barangays, in terms of access to education. So in 2019, the number of unserved barangays was actually was around 220. In 2023, it went to as low as 96, and I think under the leadership of Minister Iqbal, it went to, I think definitely it's relatively lower than 96 already. So that's the third. The fourth is really about the reduction of underserved barangays in terms of access to health services. So definitely more and more communities are having access, have improved access to health services, particularly in geographically isolated and disadvantaged communities. And the fifth one is this in terms of the overall intensity of the violent conflict landscape of the region, I think it declined significantly. We recognize that REDO persists, but I think the overall intensity of violent conflict reduced significantly, simply because of the retirement of what we call as vertical conflict. This is the type of conflict between the state and, of course, the armed groups. And Jay, I'd like to add, so it's not just top 5, it's top 6. I'd like to add number 6, and that's really institution building. I think the BARMM government was very effective in providing the foundation for institution building.
It's really good to hear those significant changes or accomplishments, sir. But can you also explain to us what has changed in terms of governance and what impact it's had on the region?
Okay. In governance, I think a key milestone was really the passage of the priority codes, the priority bills. For example, the Bangsamoro Administrative Code provided the legal basis for the creation of the BARMM ministries, offices, and agencies. And in addition, you have the passage of the Bangsamoro Civil Service Code that provided the standards for organizational and individual performance. And then you have the Bangsamoro Education Code that provided the institutional requirements in terms of education service delivery. And then you have the Bangsamoro Local Government Code that actually provided, that clearly delineated the roles between the regional government and the local government in terms of service delivery at the provincial, at the municipal, and even at the barangay level. And then you have the IT code, the BARMM IT code, that protected and promoted the rights of the IPs within the BARMM region. And then, of course, the Bangsamoro Electoral Code that will eventually serve as the basis for the incoming election. So that's the passage of the priority code is a key milestone. And then you have the creation, and then you have the formulation of the multi-year development roadmaps. So at the early stage of the transition, there was the formulation of the first Bangsamoro Development Plan, and then followed by the second Bangsamoro Development Plan 2023 to 2028. And then you have the sectoral plans. You have the plans in terms of the nutrition plan, you have the food security plan. So that's the second milestone, the formulation of the multi-year development plans and the sectoral plans. The third milestone is, of course, the creation of the mechanisms for multi-stakeholder engagement. You have the BEDC, you have the Bangsamoro Economic Development Council as the highest policy-making body, and within the BEDC, you have the sectoral committees. You have the economic sector, you have the governance sector, you have the social sector, and then you have the infra sector. And of course, you have peace, public order, and safety. So you have the sectoral committees. And then you also have the BIDA. This is the Bangsamoro International Development Assistance Committee. This is a platform where the government can also engage with the international development partners.
And looking ahead, sir, what are the key areas the new BARMM regional government needs to prioritize?
Okay. Right now, what needs to be prioritized, of course, number one is the passage of the remaining codes. So, for example, we have the Bangsamoro Revenue Code. Now, this is very, very important because this will equip the Bangsamoro government in terms of the financial capacity, the ability of the Bangsamoro government to generate its own revenues, and not just fully dependent to the national government for funding. Second is, of course, to address the remaining unserved barangays in terms of education. Third is to address the remaining underserved communities in terms of health services. And then, of course, malnutrition is also another problem. And then you also have a problem in terms of food security, access to clean water, and of course, access to electricity. So access to basic services remains to be a top priority. And then I think the elephant in the room is, of course, the land conflict. It has to be addressed as well. The BARMM government must be able to demonstrate early wins in terms of addressing the issues pertaining to land conflict, because land conflict remains to be a major cause of conflict in the region. And then you have the pernicious shadow economies. I think this also needs to be addressed, particularly in terms of the illicit drug trade and illicit firearms trade. So these, I think, to my perspective, these are the top. These are some of the things that new government will have to address.
Consultant for the World Bank and the United Nations Development Program, and lead consultant for the second Bangsamoro Development Plan, Mr. Ever Abasolo. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.